real slaughterhouse audio blasting in your headphones, open casket corpses sitting up and talking, a beach party turning into a landmine massacre, and Humpty Dumpty from Hell. These are more disturbing commercials that no longer air. Alright, this first one is genuinely one to be avoided if you don't want to hear the sounds of real animals in slaughterhouses. Not joking. Obviously, we cannot play this ad in full, so look it up later at your own discretion. This was a PSA from World Animal Protection that showed up on YouTube in 2019. A lot of people still remember it as one of the worst ads they've ever endured. It starts with a pink-purple static screen and the line, "Ever heard the sound of suffering?" At first you think it's just another charity ad, but then the screen tells you, for the best experience, please put headphones on. Otherwise, turn your volume up as far as you can. Anyone who actually did that instantly regretted it. The next line says, listen to this sound and try to imagine being in a place like this. Then the static fades and the audio begins. Real recordings of animals in slaughterhouses. Over it, visuals snap in and out. Dead chickens, a pig chewing on a wire fence. And after 10 excruciating seconds of this, the sound finally fades away and text fades in. That was just 10 seconds. Imagine feeling like that for a lifetime. Effective for sure, but damn. What people hated about this was that this was an unskippable ad. You'd be watching, some normal video, and suddenly you'd be trapped in 10 seconds of hell with no way out unless you just exited off YouTube. People on social media started posting warnings telling others to mute it immediately or report it, and eventually YouTube pulled the ad completely. Nothing more pleasant than a corpse sitting up in an open casket funeral. This is another Canadian ad I watched growing up, probably around 2007, a part of the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board's Prevent It ad campaign. They were all haunted. In this one, a boss stands at a podium giving this very corporate, very rehearsed speech about an employee named James. He says James worked here for 10 years and that his death was a terrible accident. But just as he says that, it goes full-on horror.
What are you talking about? Your company never fully trained me to deal with high voltage wires. And the way they were insulated, it was obvious someone wanted to get home in a hurry.
James sits up, his face and fingers are charred, and he starts ranting, listing every corner that was cut. Nobody trained him to handle high voltage electrical work. The wiring was basically a death trap because someone rushed the job, and he mocks himself for not wearing all his protective gear. Everyone in the room just stares at him in horror because he's right, and they all know it. Then James lays back in the coffin and the whole screen fades to black. Yeah. Moral of the story, it's pretty obvious. If you're gonna do an open casket funeral, put makeup on them. You don't want them all burnt and charred like that. This commercial starts off like so many other annoying commercials. It's a bunch of attractive 20-somethings gathering together at the beach to frolic in the sand, the beat of a generic sappy indie folk song. But oh boy, do things take a turn in this one. Can't show what happens in full detail here, but basically they all start exploding one by one on landmines. One of the guys grabs a girl's hand and yells, "Let's get out of here," but almost immediately leaves her behind because, according to him,
slow you down!
he immediately steps on a landmine and pieces of him end up all over her. The girl then collapses in shock, staring at his severed hand. The camera swings back to the fence with a sign that reads, "Restricted Area Explosives Testing Site." This is what happens when you slack off. Black screen, text fades in, stay in school. A round of applause from me. I mean, that message is kind of confusing. You can definitely ditch school and go to a beach that is not full of landmines. Next on the list is the infamous Australian Grim Reaper commercial, a PSA regarding AIDS. This one is from 1987, right during the height of the epidemic. It begins with people being lowered into the frame by their heads, lined up exactly like bowling pins. A cloaked skeleton figure, the Grim Reaper, picks up a huge bowling ball and rolls it toward them, snuffing them all out. Another lane full of people is set up and the same thing happens again. The ball hits them and the screen shows more bodies scattered across the alley. The pin setting machine then pushes all the bodies off the lane. The camera pulls back to show that there are several Grim Reapers in the bowling alley, each with their own lane. The main Reaper walks away holding his scythe as the narrator explains that the only real protection is having one safe partner or using protection every time. It's so drably shot, the way the bodies look when they're all piled up after getting bowled over, it's genuinely unsettling. An effective ad. And the Grim Reaper makes another appearance in this next ad, calling himself the Spirit of Lonely Water. But I mean, he looks just like the Grim Reaper. This 1973 PSA from the Central Office of Information's Reduce Swimming Pool Accidents campaign is built around a character called the Spirit of Dark and Lonely Water, narrated by Donald Pleasance himself. It opens on this creepy-looking muddy river. From there, the ad moves through this series of scenes where young people are messing around near dangerous water, and the Spirit of Lonely Water, I guess, essentially captures their souls. Part of what makes this one so ominous and unsettling is the eerie quiet. There's no music. I think that really adds a certain effect. The Cockney accents, by the way, just delightful.
Oh, look, there's someone in the water.
Oh, look, there's someone in the water. I mean, that sounds like I'm doing a bad accent, but that's what it sounds like. That's how they talk.
Oh, mate, that's a stupid place to swim.
Oh, mate, that's a stupid place to swim. In part one, we covered the infamous You've Been Tangoed slap commercial. That wasn't the only commercial in the You Know You've Been Tangoed ad campaign that was banned, though. This next one first hit screens in October of 2004. It starts with a man who's wrapped in a carpet that's stuffed with oranges. He's stacked on 5 concrete pipes, all tied to a goat. The goat eats its way along some grass, which sets the whole rig in motion. It sends the man and pipes tumbling down a hill until they violently crash into a tree. Just over a month later, on Remembrance Day, the Advertising Standards Authority banned it. Only 4 complaints had been made, but the ASA was worried that kids might try to copy it and hurt themselves or worse. So plans to rerun the ad in early 2005 were scrapped. Not everyone agreed with the ban. The Broadcast Advertising Clearance Center argued the ad was obviously surreal. I mean, a man wrapped in a carpet full of oranges on top of large metal pipes. I mean, is that really something you could just casually replicate? That's not a challenge, by the way. Don't do that. This is an eerie one, an anti-illicit substance PSA from 1987. These are always a riot. Starts with this pretty young woman looking straight into the camera. Her head is filling up the whole thing, by the way, which is always unsettling. I never liked that when I was a kid, seeing faces look at you in the TV. I had nightmares about that. If I saw this ad, even from the jump, I'd be uncomfortable. But there's nothing really weird yet. I mean, she blinks, she gives a small smile. It almost feels like a commercial for lotion or something. It quickly changes because this ghostly version of Happy Birthday kicks in. Continues to stare right into you. Her face slowly starts to change too. Her eyes sink in like she's hasn't slept in weeks. The shadows around them get darker and darker. It's getting uncomfortable to look at her. By the end, her face has this dead, washed out look, and that's confirmed when a white blanket suddenly drops over her face. Screen fades to black with the PDFA logo. This next ad actually never aired. It was rejected by Fox, but if it wasn't, it would have played at the 2005 Super Bowl. It's a medicine commercial featuring legendary comedian Mickey Rooney. Disturbing in the traditional sense? No. Disturbing in the sense that you see his 84-year-old bare backside in a sauna kind of disturbing? Yes. So Mickey Rooney is sitting in this sauna reading the paper. A woman behind him coughs, and terrified he's going to catch whatever she has, he screams in horror before scrambling out of the room, accidentally dropping his towel in the process. It's funny, honestly pretty tame, but they figured it just didn't belong on TV. Well, one look at this thing and it's pretty obvious why this commercial didn't play for long. It was pulled because kids started seeing the Kinder Egg Man in their nightmares. Back in 1983, Ferrero dropped this UK commercial for Kinder Surprise. That's fascinatingly weird as an adult, but as a youngster, this definitely would have made my skin crawl. It stars this eerily realistic Humpty Dumpty looking puppet thing talking complete gibberish, shaking a Kinder Egg, ripping it open to reveal the toy inside. It'd be pretty standard if the Kinder Egg Man was more cartoony, cuter, You know, less like a monster wearing human skin like Ed Gein. This is one of my favorites. You don't see ads like this anymore. Beautifully cinematic, but hauntingly grim. Natural Born Smoker first aired in 1985, an anti-smoking public service announcement. It takes the shock approach to deterring young people from smoking. Would have worked on me. We open on a shot of this drab dystopian apartment, like something out of Blade Runner. The camera slides left, and there he is, a lone smoker, sitting perfectly still in his chair. Close-ups show him drawing in a cigarette, exhaling through his nose, and the focus shifts to his exaggerated features: a big nose built to filter smoke, lungs that clean themselves, index and middle fingers that look unnaturally long, tiny ears that barely stick out, and extra eyelids to shield his eyes. Each detail makes him feel like some next-level human evolved just for smoking. Everything about the scene, it's live action, but the practical effects make him look almost believable, even today. It just looks great, this ad. Outside, futuristic noises hum in the background while the smokers inhale and exhale sync with this low, ominous music. But as the narrator finishes, the first natural-born smoker doesn't exist yet. It gets across how bad cigarette smoke is on the human body by highlighting just how far away we are from anything like the grotesque thing we're looking at on screen. I love this ad. With all that said, I've been your host, James, and I will catch you, yes, you specifically, next time.